We are looking forward to hearing our distinguished keynote speaker, Mr. Andrew Lawlor. Andrew is a continuous improvement manager at BorgWarner. With over 10 years in the automotive industry and almost 8 years with BorgWarner, Andrew has a deep understanding on how automation and lean implementation can drive business results. We're excited to have him share his insight today. So please join me in welcoming Andrew. He's already on the main stage. So Andrew, please take it away. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I definitely want to thank everyone for having me here today to speak. Very excited about this. This is definitely a topic that we here at BorgWarner, especially at the Ithaca campus, embrace and find very important to our long-term future. So a little background on me. I think you heard a little bit about it already, but I work at BorgWarner here at the Ithaca campus. I'm our continuous improvement operational excellence manager. Before coming here, I was in automotive prior to BorgWarner. I've been here about 8 years. I worked at Robert Bosch. We had a very similar level of automation. That was down in Charleston, South Carolina. And actually, prior to that, I worked in Kirkwood, New York at the Frito-Lay facility where we made potato chips. I have an industrial engineering degree from RIT and an MBA from Syracuse University. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about our BorgWarner Ithaca automation journey. Where did we start? Where are we today? First off, we started actually making chain in Trumansburg, the Morris chain, in the early 1900s. So this is a long-term product for us here. At that time, assembly was very manual. And even up until probably the 50s and 60s, it was still very manual. We actually had operators hitting the chain, hitting a punch to create rivets for the chain. Our output was low. Our product mix was low. Sometime in the 70s, we moved to the Warren Road location, which is where I'm at right now. This is actually across from the Ithaca Airport. We've got about 1,100 people on campus. We supply all major OEMs, so Ford, FCA, GM, Subaru, Toyota, just to name a few. A fun fact is we have a pool and a baseball field on campus, which is something that definitely makes us unique. We're a 3-shift, 5-day-a-week operation, so we're very high volume. We ship both locally in terms of the United States and globally, so we do also ship overseas. So fast forward to today, what does the automation look like today? And so we have fully automated chain assembly lines. So we actually build those in-house. That's something that's a differentiator for us and for our business model. They're cam driven. We use a lot of FANUC robots, Cognex cameras, sensors. So we definitely morphed quite a bit, especially over the last 50 years. So we went from manual, low volume, low mix to high mix, high volume. Now an operator can do over 1,000 chains in just a shift. And so it's really kind of a unique experience here. We have lots of products, not just chain on this campus. So we have of course, our HIVO and our timing chain. We also build cam phase and fully kitted timing drives. So we definitely have a lot of product mix here on campus. And so I kind of want to talk about how did we get here? How are we able to, especially in New York, build all of these different products in the automotive market, extremely challenging market? Simple answer is really our automation implemented at the right places in our process, increased our quality, increased our output, and reduced our labor content. We do have some advantages. So automotive market probably lends itself pretty well since it is high volume. In general, it's low mix, so you can have a lot of dedicated equipment. And product and process requirements are generally clear, and key characteristics are defined by the customer. In automotive, there's definitely some negatives. Obviously, right now, probably a lot of us are feeling the volatility. The lack of flexibility in terms of key characteristics and product guidelines. And then, of course, our just continuous drive for cost reductions. These OEMs year over year require cost reductions as a part of us winning the business in our contract. So what problems did we try to solve within our facility in reference to automation? So we definitely are trying to lower our labor content. We want to ensure we're sending top quality parts to our customer, and we want to reduce errors, which lead to increased cost. So that's in rework, that's in scrap. So we definitely have kind of our own approach, which we find pretty successful. First off, you need to use common sense. So we need to implement automation where it makes sense in our business. That's a really easy statement, but I think pretty challenging to execute, because there are definitely a lot of tools that we can use to ensure ROI is achieved. However, at the end of the day, it's about you understanding your business, and especially with whatever companies you're working with, making sure they understand your business as well. You need to understand what is important to your customer. What does the volume look like each year? Does it fluctuate? Does it grow? Does it decline? Is it seasonal? What problem are you trying to solve? Is it the high defect rate? Is it variable output? High operator work content? Labor shortage? I mean, that's something I think that a lot of us are struggling with right now. At least we are here. And finally, is your organization ready? So that's something that you really need to think about. So there's a lot of things to think about, but how your workforce is going to accept this. And I mean, this could even be camera systems, sensors, all the way up to, fully automatic pallet and freight conveyors, robotics. You've got to have the workforce ready to accept this. And that can be a really big barrier to your success. Some of the things that we do to try to overcome this: ensure communication is happening at a regular basis. Explain the why behind the decision. Involve the maintenance teams, the technicians, the operators at every level of the organization. Involve them in the design and implementation. If something's built off site, bring the operators and the maintenance team to that location. It's worth every single penny. If it's a retrofit on your current shop floor, dedicate those operators, dedicate that maintenance staff. It really goes a long way, and you can work out a lot of bugs before you ever get into full production. So I think I kind of wanted to give a background of our company and a little bit of a background too on what we look at and how we approach our automation. And now I'd like to cite kind of a few different examples of where we found success in our business. The first one is that we rolled out quite a few Cobots in the past few years. These are universal robotic Cobots. So we had a challenge where, it's difficult to get enough labor to run the plant. We're a high labor cost location, and we had a lot of high labor content in our production. So whether that's one operator running one machine, so it's very dedicated, or even two operators running one machine. And this labor content was very repetitive. There was no feel to these solutions. So, and additionally, we found, especially with a high turnover rate, which we're experiencing right now, especially in our workforce, we were getting a highly variable output, which you can't depend on. If a line's going to run 50 pieces or 800, planning can become very challenging. So we implemented Cobots specifically at a lot of machine loads. So this allows the operator to, instead of loading piece by piece, to load carts in larger quantities. So we'll have to service that cell less. This drives, again, the ability for that operator to run more than one piece of equipment. So instead of one operator, one piece of equipment, we're up to one operator, three pieces of equipment. So for a 3-shift operation, that can definitely shorten your ROI time. We had some challenges. There's no doubt about that. I think we learned a lot through this process. I don't think we fully understood the man-machine interface. We didn't do a good job in some cases of using all of our lean tools to understand that. We didn't take into account that once one operator is now servicing multiple cells in the facility, that how are you going to signal to that operator, hey, I have a problem, right? You got a plan, there's going to be problems, but if that operator's 50 yards away, how do they know that? So definitely had some challenges there. I want to definitely emphasize that we needed to understand those inputs. We needed to use the operators more. And like I said, our approach is to do that. However, sometimes you think you're doing it enough and you find out at the end that you probably should have involved operators even more than you did. Second example where we found a lot of success is implementing what we call kit checkers. So we send to our OEMs, not all of them, it depends on the customer, a kit, so a tote with maybe 5 different components, a couple of which we make here, a couple of which we purchase. This gives the operator at the OEM the ability to take the parts and put them directly on the line. So this is an improvement for their labor content at the OEM. We had a lot of issues with missing parts, wrong orientation of parts. We had a visual inspector, but I think we know that visual inspection, of course, depending on the study, isn't 100% a foolproof method of inspection. So we implemented a camera system where it looked at, is that part present? Is it correctly oriented? Is it the correct part? We still had some challenges, so definitely similar colors. Cameras can't see everything, especially if you put a tan guide and a tan tote. That can create some challenges. So there's definitely lots of things to think about. Lighting was extremely important. And then also a challenge is that operators start to lose touch now that they know that there's a piece of automation, a camera system ensuring the quality. Operators sometimes don't take care as they put parts in the tote. So overall, it's definitely reduced our quality escapes to the customer. And that's definitely been a part of how we win new business is our quality record. The third example, which I wanted to highlight quickly, is the use of 3D printers. So this has been something I'll say in the last couple of years we've really started to use more and more. And we're using them to print parts, plastic components, which I'll say used to be tool steel and are now plastic. We have thousands of spare parts in our facility, and our manufacturing engineering team went through and looked at, okay, does this really need to be tool steel? What kind of weight is it carrying? Maybe we don't even want it to be steel because we can damage the powdered metal parts that we're transporting. Some of them are just nests that the part sits in just with gravity. So this has saved us quite a bit of money in the long run. Our printers are going off. In fact, they're actually right next door to me in my office. Those printers are running 24/7 practically. We probably have around 40 to 50 part numbers that we print. We keep one set in our general stores, and when that set gets pulled, we automatically send a signal to build the next one. So this has reduced our carrying costs, definitely reduced lead time, which we know right now is a huge challenge to get parts in the door. Maybe the supplier has the part, but you've got to wait 3 to 5 weeks where it used to be a 1-week turnaround. So we've found a lot of success, and I think it's definitely worth in your business, if you think this is an opportunity to do that analysis. There are also companies out there that can help you do this analysis for you. We were lucky enough to have the knowledge in-house to be able to do that ourselves. So in summary, I truly believe that automation, no matter what level, can be a powerful tool, but it needs to be implemented in the right way. Understanding your business is paramount into understanding if you will get the ROI you expect. You need to understand your customer requirements, and if automation is a way in which you can better meet those requirements. And use your lean tools, use your work combination tables, use your line balancing charts, takt time. There's all these lean tools out there that you can use and do a paper exercise and understand, am I getting what I'm expecting to get? And I'm sure a lot of companies also use these as well. So make sure you challenge yourself, challenge the companies you're working with, so you fully understand, am I going to get what I expect to get? If you're just starting your journey, you don't need to jump to robots and fully automated systems. Start small, pick a few things that you want to tackle and get some wins under your belt. Like anything, change is difficult, and the company needs to ensure all levels of the organization understand the automation and the benefits that are expected. And it's really about creating a long-term sustainable business model. So I wanted to thank you for having me here today to discuss kind of our BorgWarner Ithaca journey in automation, and how we're using it and leveraging it to build a long-term sustainable business model for ourselves here in New York.
Andrew, thank you for your very, very enlightening talk. As I listened to you, I was beginning to think. I said, "Well, he's an MEP guy. You sound just like some from the MEP system." But that's the sort of things we try to present to our clients in the manufacturing community to help them. So thank you so much. I think it was a very good talk
Absolutely.
and dovetails nicely with what we do here.